Welcome back in, everybody. Another edition of the 4DHS Dynasty Trade Show, episode 12. If you're listening on podcast form, please rate and review and make sure you're subscribed to the feed. Jeez, make sure you don't miss out on these shows. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps us out so much. We appreciate you. And as always, I'm joined by my good buddy, Adam. You ready to do some of these Dynasty trades? This is some of my favorite content we get to do. Actually looking at fucking trades, man. I get so excited.
What do the people say, Mike? Bring it up. What do the people say about Dynasty values?
Hell yeah. Well, let's look at it. You and I made a trade in a best ball league. So,
Holy Santa Claus shit. What is this?
I received Mac Jones, a 23 first, a 23 second, another 23 second, and a 23 third. And in return, I sent away Ezekiel Elliott, Austin Hooper, and one Jalen Hurts to you, sir. How'd you feel about this one, man? Best Ball League. This is a Patreon league that we do with Ray on Destination Devi. So patreon.com/allgas. Get you some of these leagues that you are eligible to be in. Adam, what do you feel about this? How do you feel about you acquiring Jalen Hurts for the package that you sent me? Mac Jones and some picks.
I'm going to answer the question in two parts. How do I feel about this, first and foremost? So I love how, Mike, this is a league I had feeling like, the productive struggle is just so strong and ready to go. All these picks, like, it's coming together. Short little best ball starting roster. Then all of a sudden, certain team gets orphaned. And then one McNutted comes in. And the next thing you know, I'm looking at this on the trade show of my productive struggle going to a full pushed in. Like, now we're going for it. Damn. That's what happens when McNutted gets in your league, is you're forced to make a decision. And you know what, Mike, though? Keeping it real, everything we've done as far as creating content and digging into some of the numbers, especially for best ball, I'm not going to say I'm out on Mac Jones, but I am much more cautious about having Mac Jones on my teams as a contender. Even though Bill Belichick just told you today is Wednesday. I'm sorry, today's Tuesday. Shit, man. Days are flying by as a newborn father. Man. But, camps are just starting. Bill Belichick's telling everybody that, Mac Jones has made tremendous leaps. Like, coach speak doesn't exist, we don't think. So whether that's right or wrong, like, I'm cautiously pausing about Mac Jones on my contenders. So the upgrade from Mac Jones to Jalen Hurts, Mike, for me here, like, that's a really big one on a contender if I'm going to push to being a contender. Now, this trade offer started with, like, you trying to get me Hurts, and I'm thinking, I don't really love this for my build, but if I'm going to take Hurts, like, I need to make this trade shift to a contender. Like, if I'm going to take Jalen Hurts on this team that's in the middle of what it wants to do, I need to push it to a contender. So we kind of went back and forth and finally formulated this where, however you want to break this down, Mike, for me on my side, and I know it's good for you on your side as far as values too, whether it's Mac Jones and a 23 first for Jalen Hurts, which I think was the initial offer. A little strong for me, considering this league has lottery and not knowing what the hell that could end up being. And that's where we basically came to adding Zeke, adding Hooper, and then adding, a set of seconds as well as a third. I think for what we're both trying to do after this trade, it makes a lot of sense. I think you've got to love your return as a team trying to, get some of these picks that are already spoken for. I think you're got to be loving what you're doing too.
Well, the initial offer I sent you were correct, is Mac Jones and a first for Jalen Hurts, me sending it away. And that all came from a big, long discussion, the Destination Devi Discord, the Heisman tier with Ray, and we were going through our Mac Jones love and how much I love Mac Jones. And you know how much I love Mac Jones, but I'm a man of my word when he asked me straight up, would you send away Jalen Hurts for Mac Jones and a first? And I said, absolutely, I would do that. So that's why I sent it to you. And then you added in a Zeke and some picks, or I don't remember exactly how, like, the counter went, but I'm on a rebuild. This is an orphan team. I did not build this team, so I'm more than comfortable like getting picks and getting some youth and getting some players I like. So, sending away Zeke and Austin Hooper is kind of whatever. So, I look at it strictly, Adam, as the initial deal I sent you, Jalen Hurts for Mac Jones in a first, and I send away Zeke for 2 seconds, and I send away Austin Hooper for a third. And I'm not getting a fucking first-round pick for Zeke, no matter how much you want to.
Not in that league.
Him and Hall.
Not in that league or not.
That league, there's no chance in hell. So 2 seconds, all right. Like, maybe you got a little bit of a discount on Zeke on a contender, but I'm cool with it. Like, he's kind of antithetical to what the fuck I'm trying to do. So bye, Zeke. Like, see you later. Have fun on Adam's team. And I wish you the best of luck in your endeavor to win the league. And I think it worked out well for both of us. Like, I'm very comfortable with my side that I got. And I would assume this was the counter that you sent me that ended up getting accepted. So I'm assuming you like your side as well.
No, two things though, honestly. One, when you sent me that trade, Jalen Hurts for Mac Jones, this is something I think that actually we don't talk a lot about on the trade show. We do a little bit more on the 4D Chess Dynasty Football podcast. We do. Knowing your league mates and understanding how you can make a deal that makes sense for both sides so that you can keep trade rapport going in the future. And I think, Mike, because you and I know exactly what we do, we talk about fantasy football, Dynasty fantasy football in particular, every single week. We do the trade show week. Like, I know what you're thinking. You know what I'm thinking. Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's cut to the chase. If you're going to make me do this, like, I need to go ahead and get some pieces off of your team, which I know you're trying to move if you're going to rebuild. So let me get Zeke for 2 seconds. You were trying to push something. I'm like, all right, well, if you want me to do that, then let me go ahead and get Hooper for the third, and let's just be done with this. And here we are. We settled on the deal. Now, Mike and I think are both very comfortable with this deal. This is how we'll probably do a lot of deals in the future. A couple counters back and forth. Let's get to a deal and let's get it done. Let us know what you think about this deal because there's a lot of moving parts. Obviously, Mike is going rebuild. I'm going to push to contender. We want to know what you think about this deal because these are how we value the assets. What do you guys think?
I always like when we kick off the show with a deal that you and I made together, right? Kind of bang
right,
it out.
For
but
sure.
Number 2, just strictly
oh my
me.
Goodness!
Another deal
goodness.
that I made here. We had to do 2 because I thought this one was pretty important here. I acquired Deshaun Watson, Noah Fant, a 24 second and a 24 third. I sent away Joe Burrow. Now, this is a best ball league, deep starting rosters. I think it's like 13 or 14. It's every damn best ball league I do anymore is that way. Adam, which side do you like here, man? In a best ball league, do you want Joe Burrow or do you want Watson, Fant, and the package of picks, the second and the third?
I don't care best ball lineup. I guess I should say if I'm contending strongly would be I'm still probably not doing this, Mike, but that would be like the one chance you have to make me say, shit, man, like I hate giving away that other side, but if I know that this is going to secure me for potentially 6 to 8 games and make this contender move, I might do it. Like, I'm going to tell you, I'm not doing that other side outside of very rare circumstances. I want Watson. I think Fant is being left for dead. How about we say that? And I think a 24 seconds a good asset, man. So even in start 9, unless I'm like a strong contender that's fully relying on Joe Burrow, I'm taking that other side. It's obviously as you get to deeper starting lineups and best ball, easily the other side.
So this one came about. I made that fancy spreadsheet over on our Discord, patreon.com/South Harmon there, the best ball spreadsheet looking at spike weeks and consistency. And we think of Joe Burrow as a top 5, top 6, top 7, probably at worst, dynasty quarterback, right? And he had a good year last year. Surprisingly, though, he didn't rank very highly on that spreadsheet that we had made, Adam. And this kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how many like Joe Burrow shares I have, and I'm going, I'm comfortable if I send away Joe Burrow. Like he's just not really hitting that elite territory in best ball that I'd like to see at him. So maybe I make a pivot off of it to something else. And I had explored some other options, but Deshaun Watson seemed like a logical one with the news and people being in flux and up and down on his value, and we really don't know where some people rate him. So, man, I'm cool. Like, I wouldn't do this 1-for-1. I would not in a million years send away my Joe Burrow for Deshaun Watson right now, today, 1-for-1. But you add in Noah Fant, the tight end I like in best ball, and you add in a couple picks, I'm highly fucking intrigued. Let's go. Well, like, I really like it from that standpoint, but I will acknowledge that, like, 1-for-1 right now, I wouldn't do this in a million years. Like, I'm good.
I wouldn't either. I'll say this, Mike, your findings and what we've discussed about Joe Burrow are, in last year's, points per game, in his spike weeks and consistency weeks, relative to best ball. And then you compare that to where his fantasy and dynasty value are, Mike. Like, you're basically pivoting off of him at peak. Like,
yes.
What is the reality is this, Mike? He's being valued as a top 5, 6 startup pick. I've seen him go as early as 4. I'm sure there's been drafts he made he's gone as early as 3. Like, you're not going higher than that. Like, he's not going to pass. Dude, he's not passing Josh Allen. He's not passing probably Justin Herbert. Even as all the weapon, Tyreek Hill being gone, the weaponry difference, like, I don't even know that he passes Patrick Mahomes. So what does he have, a spot to move up in value? Maybe? Like, you're pivoting off of him at a point in which there's not really much room to gain, where Watson we know is going to gain value. Whatever his suspension is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long, he's going to gain value, period. Noah Fant, like, I would be shocked. Truthfully, he's one of the few players that's not suspended that I would be shocked if he does not gain value throughout this season. Like, I'll be shocked if he goes any lower than, he's been a 12th round pick, man. Like, it's an 11th round pick. It's insane. And then, 24 seconds, not super special, but in best ball, man, it's a piece that I want a lot of. So I like what you did.
Boom. Nailed it. Love these best ball leagues, man. You guys need to get in some best ball leagues. I can't stress how great it is.
Do it.
Completely different strategy. Completely different. All right. Next one we got here, the most fucking egregious trade I think I've ever seen. Again, if this was a lineup league, maybe we have some ground to stand on, but I would not do it. This is a best ball league. I can confirm.
Stop. We do not have ground to stand on in the lineup league.
Maybe. We'll let the YouTube.
For those of you listening on podcast, you can't see what we're watching and looking at in a YouTube feed. But go ahead, Mike. I don't want to interrupt you, but I had to there.
All right. We have Darnell Mooney, a 23 first, a 24 first, a 24 second, and a 25 second being acquired for Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase only. Adam, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and Darnell Mooney for 1 Jamar Chase. And again, this is a best ball league. Like I said, I thought, to me, this is one of the most egregious trades I think I've ever fucking seen, especially in best ball. Lineup, I was being nice. But what do you feel about this one, Adam?
Rojo Fish, listen, I haven't talked with you directly. So please don't take personal offense to you as a human being person when I tell you that this is one of the stone cold worst trades I've ever seen made from a person that's paying Ray the top money that I've ever seen in Dynasty advice. Like, you pay one of the best analysts and best people in Dynasty a premium to ask him, hey, what about this trade? And you made this? Mike, this is insanity. In a fucking lineup league, this is insanity. This is a best ball league. And then the arguments of like, oh, these picks are later and I can recoup. I don't stop it. I don't care about recouping value later. I don't care about like what you think you can do later. This is asinine. We're talking about a guy that's going to get insane target volume. He probably will not score as much as Ja'Marr Chase will this season. So on a contender, yes, Ja'Marr Chase over Mooney, there's not a discussion. You throw in a 23 first, Mike. I already want the Mooney side. Now, market's going to tell you that's too light. And everybody that's listening to this on podcasts and YouTube is probably going to say it's too light. Shut up, Adam. Fine. Now you throw in the 24 first. And I know you're overpaying. Period. Period. If you're listening to this and disagree, feel free to. I would love to hear it in the comments, whatever. But I'm not, there's no scenario I'm paying 2 first and Mooney. And then there's two, like, this is, Mike, I don't understand how this got here. I don't understand why anybody would do this. And this is why in 2 days we're going to come out with another YouTube video on name brand and off brand with Ja'Marr Chase. And, Mike, you have got to explore trading Chase simply because of this. This is an insane return. I mean, by leaps and bounds, the other side for me.
Yeah, I would take it. Man, I get it too, man. Ja'Marr Chase, but this is what I always caution people against with the names, right? Don't get attached to the names and don't get attached to the whole, oh, I got him for the next 10 years. Like, we don't know, man. We don't know. I remember looking up and going back to a Superflex mock draft with the player profiler crew. So it was like Matt Kelly and Nate List was in it, and J.J. Zacharyson, and I think maybe like Matt Harmon might have been a part of that. And Adam, in 2017, like if you just look at the first and second, third rounds, like some of these guys are absolute fucking zeros, right? And we're only talking 5 years ago. Like these dudes, some of them ain't even in the league anymore, right? And these are first, second, and third round startup picks where we always think like, oh, I got them for 10 years, but we don't know what's going to happen in the next 3. We don't know what's happening in the next 4 or 5 years. Like some of these guys may have injuries or may break the law and be out of the league or may retire early from football for health concerns or whatever the case may be. So to invest this much capital into one player, especially in best ball, is just so detrimental to your team. And I understand if you make a lot of trades and you think you can get out of it, but you took a massive L on this one in order, like you're not playing from behind, right? Like you're 21-0 in the first quarter, and now you got to come back from it, which is hard to do. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just why put yourself in that hole? Our spike week and consistency week that we did for best ball for wide receivers, Ja'Marr Chase and Darnell Mooney for last year, no matter what people want you to think, are not that far apart, right? We did a show, and you talked about it, it's going to be coming out in a few days about Ja'Marr Chase, but 3 spike weeks, 7 above average consistent weeks. Darnell Mooney, 1 spike week, but 8 above average consistent weeks. Like one more week, he's making your lineup just as an above average player, and he still has 1 spike week. Yes, he's down 2 to Ja'Marr Chase, and we know Ja'Marr Chase spiked extremely hard in the championship round, but this is a case of value versus actual production. If you think Darnell Mooney is worth a first, which I do, especially in best ball leagues, you're talking 3 firsts and 2 seconds for one player in best ball. I don't advocate for that outside of maybe Josh Allen or Justin Herbert, man. I cannot do it for a wide receiver, which is, without a doubt, the least valuable position in best ball. Just regular scoring, not juice to the wide receiver or anything. The least valuable, the flattest tier, the least what Scott Connor and Eric Vinette talk about on America's Game podcast.
WRP, man.
Warp. Wins over replacement players. Wide receiver is the worst or the flattest versus other positions. So why invest that much into it?
Especially when you get into best ball, Mike. Let me say that That's something we've really been diving into and is a little bit newer to Dynasty, especially in best ball. Probably the least important position as far as advantage versus your opponent, right? So like you needing to have a wide receiver 1 versus their wide receiver 1, right? Positional advantage, least important. And then as far as depth, which best ball is so depth dependent, like it's all about depth really in best ball. You have to have some spikes, sure, you have to have some studs, but depth is so key. The deepest position by a country fucking mile, Mike. I mean, it's not even close when you get to the deepest position. Listen, man, Rojo Fish, like this is nothing personal. I want to make sure this is clear. Not personal to you. No problem with you, the person, but this deal, man. No way I'm doing this, even if you take off the 2 seconds. I know there's probably people that would do that if you took the 2 seconds off. In best ball, man. Because here's my thing, too, to get out of here, Mike, because we've spent a lot of time on this individual trade. If I'm a contender, like I just want to make sure this point is clear because this was an argumented point that I saw for this trade, and I see people make a lot of this argument. Well, Jamar Chase is going to crush Darnell Mooney this year in points per game. Okay, even if you believe that. On a contender, I don't care because I have now 4 assets that I can move. This, like, Jiggity Jamez, whatever it is, does not have to sit on these picks. If he wants to contend, he can move 4 picks for players in his lineup. So even if Chase is outscoring Mooney by 3-4 points per game, even if it's 5, which I don't think it's going to be that high, you're talking about 4 assets that you can move for pieces in your lineup in best ball. This is not close, and this is not even relatively close, Mike.
Hey, the biggest thing, man, we're part of that Discord. We're part of the chat. We do a lot of stuff with best ball. You just ask, tag us. I'm willing to talk about Dynasty and best ball anytime. You ask, I'll give you feedback. You don't have to listen to it, but at least you can ask. I tell you, hey, hell no, I would not send that. All right, let's move on. What a name. What a name here. But
what is this? Oh, my goodness.
We got
We're going from that big deal to this?
The 22-409, a 23 third, and a 23 fifth being acquired for Allen Lazzard and Chris Evans. So not on a grand scale of Jamar Chase had him, but the 409, 23 third, a 23 fifth for Lazzard and Chris Evans. Which side you got on this one?
Pretty easy. I don't care about the 409. I'm taking Lazzard over the 23 third, and I could care absolutely zero about a 23 fifth. I'm not a Chris Evans guy personally. I know there's a lot of talk about him getting third down work and getting a little bit of a role. So in best ball, I mean, whatever. If you're gonna, if we're rostering like some of Mike's degenerate leagues, 39 guys, and you want to have Chris Evans, fine. Yeah, hell yeah, get Chris Evans. But that's not the piece here that really matters to me. I mean, Lazzard over. Like, I would pay that for Lazzard, truthfully, in a best ball league by far. So,
in a lineup league, I'd pay that.
In a lineup league too, but I'm saying, like, I mean, yeah, it's easily Mick Cluck Fuck bent him over. So good for you, buddy.
Yeah, I definitely like the Lazzard side. A 23 third for Lazzard. Like, are we? I think that's still too late.
I'm in. Like, I'm way in, dude. I'm. Any third period, I don't even care if it's 301. I'll take Lazzard.
I'm good. Yeah, give me Lazzard. I'm willing to place my chips down and bet on Allen Lazzard. Pretty.
Because you can also move him after he gets 12 targets in week 1 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you moved him, after week 1 and you got a second, you already won this trade.
Exactly.
Cool.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Exactly right.
You packaged a bunch of shit together and got a second. Congratulations. Good on you. I love it.
Well done.
All right. What about Zach Wilson, a 23 first, a 24 first for Tom Brady, Dalvin Cook, and Cortland Sutton?
Now we're getting guys somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, these are a few guys of our Patreon, patreon.com/South Harmon, who made this trade. What do you think about this? Like, I think it's a pretty clear line.
Are we in this league too?
I don't know if we are or not. I don't know. Maybe. I don't remember seeing this one come through our league feed, so maybe they're in a league together in another one. Could be.
I thought it was in our recent one, but I'm not 100% sure. There's been so many trades in leagues I'm in recently. It's hard to keep track of. I'll say this.
Trade season, baby.
Yes, it is. And, Mike, I think this is a pretty good one. I'll say this. If I'm contending and I can trade away my first in 23 and in 24, and Zach Wilson, and I can go get Tom Brady, and I can go get Dalvin Cook, and I can go get Cortland Sutton, especially in the best ball league, which I'm really confident this is in, I'm doing that. Conversely, if I am preferring to rebuild, like I would move off of Brady for Zach Wilson, for sure. I would take a 23 first for Cook, man, but like if I thought there was a chance that could be late, I'd probably want a little more for Cook, but at the same time, like if I'm rebuilding, I know I got to move him. And I would take a first for Sutton, man, but like I'll be honest, the Redwood side I would take if I'm rebuilding. But I prefer, like, if I'm contending, I really like what Pasta did. So I guess that's the best way I can summarize this deal.
I like it for both. Really,
I do too. I just like it better for Pasta.
I'm just thinking like Zach Wilson for Brady. Like if I'm on a rebuilder, like it's heavily in favor of the Zach Wilson side over Tom Brady.
On Dynasty value, yeah.
On a rebuilder, yeah, for me.
Yeah.
A 23 first for Dalvin Cook is probably light, so maybe that extra Zach Wilson there kind of equals it out. The only spot would be like Cortland Sutton for a 24 first, but I don't know, man. That's kind of like, we're fans of Cortland Sutton, so maybe you hold him until in season and he does something and maybe you get more, but like right now, I'm cool with it. I like this side for both. And this must be a league that we're in because I can see our little avatars down there in the bottom.
Mike, I mean, I know this is. Like, don't make me think I'm crazy here.
Hey, I've been a busy man. I haven't been paying attention. I'm sorry.
Don't be
I like
sorry
it.
to me.
I like the deal. It's well constructed for both.
It is. I'll say this. To make it to where because I knew it was in the league we're in. I remember seeing this come up. But I'll say this too. Especially because this is right after a startup, I'm much more on board with what Redwoods is doing. I still think I'd like Pastas, but I think the thing with Redwoods is, like, realistically, Pasta's sending these away thinking like they're late. And we know that Redwoods is taking all the reward side right here because the risk is on Pasta's side, whether Tom Brady finally becomes a human and ages, or Dalvin Cook, with all the injuries we've seen that, linger but haven't really kept them out for a full season in the last few years, or, stuff like that. I do think Sutton, though, Mike, is the piece that really is troublesome for me, because I think, like, once we see him establish the alpha as Russell Wilson, I think the 24 first for me is where it's light. But if things don't break right for Pasta's team, Redwoods could be sitting on, man, a top 6 pick in 23 and then maybe even earlier in 24. So, like, you're kind of just betting against Pasta's team here, too. So, I understand it for both sides.
Not a bad deal. All right. Number 6, we got Tony Pollard and Jalen Waddle being acquired for Ronald Jones, a 23 second, a 24 first, and a 25 first. Woo. Man, we're going out to 25. Love it. Who you got? Pollard and Waddle, or Ronald Jones and the picks?
Man, this is tough. Only because the years. Like, I want two first for Waddle. He's gone. Like, just period. I'd much prefer Pollard to a second, even a 23 second. Ronald Jones, I mean, I don't care what he looks like, how he's looking at the camera in this picture. He's not in the deal for me at all. I think if I'm rebuilding, I still want the picks here. But you're going out quite a ways, man. 25 firsts aren't going to be drafted for like 1,000 days. So, um, I, I'm going to lean the go H Devil route here. But I think that if you were if I'm contending, I wouldn't move my assets for those other pieces. I think is ultimately why I'm picking that side.
Yeah, man, I'd love this so much if you got something other than Ronald Jones back. Like, just let's get something else.
Because the 23 seconds light for Pollard and the 2 firsts are better than Waddle, in my opinion, right? For you?
I mean, they're a lot closer because they're 24 and 25.
25, right? Agreed.
Like if that's a 23,
if that was a 23 first, it's easy.
Yeah. It almost feels just a little bit too light on the side, and like the Ronald Jones thing just kind of throws a wrench into it. Where, man, Adam, if I'm in like a best ball league, like I know this is probably a lineup league trade, but if I'm in a best ball league, man, I almost want the Waddle and Pollard side. You know what I mean? I'll send you my 25 and 24 first and a 23 second and Ronald fucking Jones, and you give me Tony Pollard and Jalen Waddle. Like I almost want that side. Like at least I know that's like concrete assets. Like now, you know, with the picks being so far out, and I ain't gotta give up my 23 first to do it. Cool. Like I will use something else and get something else with that 23 first. So this is man, this is kind of an interesting one where the Ronald Jones and the late picks really make it a hard one to evaluate.
Ronald Jones, 100%, not really something that matters in this deal. I guess, like if you're Go H Devil, like you're thinking, if it's best ball, like you just move him if he has a decent week, CEH is on the pup or something. But like to me, he's a 0. I think my biggest problem, like, is I would never invest 2 firsts and a second, even whatever the years are, on Waddle and Pollard personally. But I could understand it. I'm not saying it's like a listen. By no means am I saying this is a horrible deal for the other side at all.
Yeah, it's just it's a real tough one for me to judge. I guess if I got to go it, I'm gonna lean the Pollard and Waddle side. But
let me ask you this then, real quick, on individually here. Would you move Waddle straight up for a 24 and 25 first if you're rebuilding?
I don't think so. No.
Really?
No. Not a 24 and a 25.
I would do that. I would do that every single time. Every single time.
I'm good.
If I'm rebuilding, I would do that 100%. 100% of the time.
224 first? Yes. You throw a 25 in there, man, like there needs to be some sort of discount there, and we're looking at like a first and 2 seconds if we're sticking to our thing about the 25 first not being full boat. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, I would take a first and 2 seconds for Waddle. I totally, yeah, 100%. And I think this is a good point. One of our patrons, T-Rock, was asking about 25 picks. This is a move where I would do it. I think my problem, Mike, is this. Like you said, Ronald Jones. Like I would have probably preferred a different pick or a different player there for Ronald Jones, because I do believe a 23 second is light for Pollard. That's definitely the sticking point and problem with the deal.
All right. Last one we got here. Pretty simple. Capitalizing on today's news. Instantaneous. Wow. A 24 second being acquired for one Julio Jones, the newest member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You want a 24 second or do you want Julio Jones, Adam?
I love the trade show. Because I thought the days of Julio Jones going for a second were completely fucking dead. Man, Mike, I will admit that Julio Jones, if he somehow stays healthy, is a Hall of Fame talent, absolutely ridiculously talented. But last year, what I saw with him and Tennessee was troublesome. The year before that, really struggled to stay healthy in Atlanta. I don't want to say he's dead. Like, I would take him on contenders. I just do not think I'm going to pay a second on most of my teams, even in best ball. So I would probably say the safer route is just taking the second and being done. Like, let me get out of Julio and be done. I'll say for Mike Cap, there's probably a scenario where like you're liking this at some point. I just don't know how realistic it is to rely on 33, 34-year-old Julio Jones really giving you week in and week out production.
I think about all the receivers I can easily acquire for even a 24 second, but just a generic second in general. I don't think Julio makes that list even with today's news for me. So
No. Nope.
I'd much rather go explore and see what somebody's feeling about, Brandon Cooks or Alan Lazard, Tyler Boyd, maybe a Jacoby Myers, like if you wanted to go down that far.
I would almost throw in another pick and go get a Kadarius Toney type or something.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah, and let me juice it up. Let me give you a fourth or something. Whatever the hell it takes to get this. Let me go try this.
Yep, 100%.
We've seen like Christian Watson be devalued quite a bit. I'd like take my shot on him versus a Julio Jones. But hey,
yeah,
good,
I'm with you.
Good on the wire for capitalizing on the Julio Jones news and getting a second. I'm with you, Adam. I didn't think we'd see seconds for Julio, but here we are.
Regardless of Tom Brady, listen, if this is 10 years ago, Tom Brady's throwing to Julio Jones 10 years ago or something. This is robbery, but Tom Brady's 45. Julio Jones is, I don't want to say he's actually washed, but he's just so injury riddled that at this point, like, I would never do a second. I thought these days were long gone, man. I really did. So good for you, the Wire FFB, man. Really good.
Here we are. All right, that's going to do it for us. Let us know what you think about in the comments. Find us on Twitter if you're listening to the podcast and you'd like to comment. We got the 4D Chess Fantasy Football Twitter page. You can always tag us, and we will discuss how you feel about these deals. But, Adam, anything else you want to say before we bounce out of here with your fancy Browns logos in the background for those of you watching on YouTube?
Yeah, trying to give the Browns some love. An often, disgusted trade show type thing. They're just constantly getting clowned, the team that loses. So repping the Browns. But Mike and I can't yet. We're going to, in Ohio, be able to bet soon. So if you're able to bet, man, Prize Picks, go down, use the code WAKEUP, get a 100% deposit match. You bet, you put $100 in, you get $100 back. They're doing some really good stuff. Destination Devi, Ray, Jay Rich, and the guys.
Yeah.
Winning you money. So they're giving you free money with the Wake Up code, and then they're winning you money with the picks and the information they're giving. So if you're in a state that allows you to go to Prize Picks, man, use the code Wake Up. You don't have to tell them that Mike and Adam sent you, but just go do it, man. You'll be surprised. This team is winning you money, man. I believe that.
You got Jay Rich out here betting on the CFL and winning money, doing well at it. So yeah,
bro, what is going on, man? Just exploiting the CFL,
I would lose my ass. This is why once I'm able to bet with Prize Picks, I'm just following their advice. Like, I don't know shit about fuck. What you guys say, I'm good with it. Let's do it.
The Ruth Langmore.
Yeah, the Ruth Langmore. That's what I'm gonna call it, and that's what I'm gonna pull. That's gonna do it for us. We're out of here. Peace.